What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a couple of months since I picked the Bentley Continental GT up, and as you can tell by the title of the video, I've had it serviced. Now, before you all go mental in the comments below, let me explain myself and sort of semi-justify what I've done. I've had the car for 2 months now, and its service light came on, and I thought, we need to get it serviced. What can we do to sort this out? So obviously I thought, let's take it to Bentley because they have fixed price servicing for vehicles over 4 years old. But I did the maths and I thought, oh, I could do it myself for half the price that Bentley would charge. But then I had a look at a few other websites and thought, what if I took it to somewhere like Halfords, Quick Fit, or some just standard garage? And could they service it, was my first question. And how much would it cost there in contrast with Bentley or doing it myself? And that's where things got pretty interesting. But without further ado, let's hop in the car, have a nice cold start up and take it for a spin, and I will show you where I got it serviced. God, the weather is absolutely hideous here today in the UK. I was going to film myself getting in the car and film the exhaust from the back, but it is pouring down. Well, it's the end of December, so this is what the weather's like here in the UK at this time of year. Don't even really want to drive my GTR or my Bentley in this weather because I hate the underside of it getting wet and thinking of the corrosion and stuff with all the salt on the roads. But part and parcel of living in the UK. Don't get extreme heat, but you do get wet. So, you know, that's another factor you've got to consider when buying these cars, because they will rust on the underside if you're not careful. So I actually had the car serviced at the Halfords behind me. I went online, and we'll actually do that now and have a look. But basically, long story short, Bentley charge $800 for a basic oil change and a look over the vehicle, of course. $1,200 will get you oil change, air filters, pollen filters, and a more extensive check of the car for things like the spark plugs. And that's all you get for £1,200. Obviously, they have a good ECU reader in the official Bentley readers, so they can tell any issues that the ECU's fired, and a few other things that are quite important. But you obviously won't get that somewhere like Halfords, because I believe the Bentley Continental's computer that you need to read it is quite an expensive bit of kit, and only Bentley specialists that are certified and Bentley will have access to that. But with the 2004 and 2005 Continental GTs, there's two really interesting things you need to know, which is why you can get them serviced cheaply as long as you're confident there's nothing majorly mechanically wrong with the car that needs the ECU checked. Obviously, if you have lots of money and money is an issue for you, I would recommend taking it to Bentley and having the ECU read to check for any issues. We'll go over what they offer in a sec on the computer, and we'll have a look at what different things you get for the amount of money you spend, what the optional extras are on the service. But let's break down why I took my Bentley to Halfords. Halfords charge £220 for the full service on this car, which usually would include their grade of oil, don't do that, their grade of oil, air filters, and a load of other things that lists on the website that they won't actually do, but we'll get into that in a sec. But basically, they said for £275 you can pay for the premium Mobil 1 oil upgrade, and they'll do air filters, oil filter, oil, and that's it basically for the full service, is what they told me when I came in and asked. I thought that was very reasonable. Reason being, if I go on Euro car parts, the air filters for the car, £150, even with Christmas and holiday discounts that they've always got going on. There's usually about 50% off air filters, oil, that sort of stuff. Maintenance items. The oil this car takes, 13.5 litres, yes, you heard correct, 13.5 litres of Mobil 1 0 weight 40 fully synthetic. It's expensive stuff. Usually its RRP is like £99 for 5 litres, so £300 it could be, but obviously if you use a discount code, I got all 15 litres of it, well, all 13 litres by buying 3 5-litre jugs for £165, because Halfords said they couldn't provide the oil, which I fully understood, but that's what I was thinking. It seemed too cheap. Everything they were doing, if I was doing it on the drive at home, would have been like £400, and they said they could do it for £275. I thought, I paid for it anyway, and then was contacted them the day before saying they couldn't source the oil. They probably could have done, but they realised how much it needed and how expensive that was going to be, and said, can you please bring the oil with you? So I paid for the oil myself, and I still think it was a good deal. So basically I paid £400, they provided the oil filter, the air filters, and obviously jacked the car up for me. As I haven't got a jack at home, I'm not going to lie under a 2.5 ton Bentley with a scissor jack, because I kind of like being alive. Basically, they jacked the car up for me, replaced the filters, and talked everything to the specs that I requested, tightened the wheels up and had a good look at the underside of the car, and I provided the oil, and all in all, the cost to me was £395, which I think was a remarkable value, considering doing it myself it would have been about 330. So all in all, a very good deal. Here we are. I thought we'd go over all of the stuff online about what Halfords said they do versus what they did. So I booked the full service for a price of £230. I haven't actually put my actual postcode in there, obviously, because that would be stupid. 230, and that doesn't include the Mobil 1 upgrade. So the upgrade for the Mobil 1 specifically is 45, not 30. So that will bring the total to £275. And this is what you get in the 77-point full service. Definitely don't get everything that it says you do online, but obviously I'll say whether they do what they said they do or not. Yes, I had a look over the body, obviously, but I knew all the damage that was already there and everything that needs working on anyway. Engine, so they did drain the oil. They did not refill it with the correct grade. I had to provide my own oil, so bear in mind you will need to buy your oil separately, but we'll come on to that in a second with the Euro car parts site. Replace the oil filter. They did provide and replaced it with the correct oil filter, and replaced the sump plug and the plug around the filter itself, so they did all that. Check for excessive oil leaks. They gave the underside a full check. Timing belts all looked good. We can see that they've been replaced recently. You went and had a radiator change a couple of years ago. Also, yeah, basically they did check the underside for any leaks. They checked the coolant for leaks. We basically did check everything on the underside of the car, which is great. We didn't adjust any auxiliary drive belts, so we just looked at them and they were all fine, so didn't worry about them. Now, we did replace the air filter. They also provided the air filters, so we didn't need to buy that. That was included in the price of the service. However, they didn't really wipe out the air filter bays. They only hoovered it out, but that does get rid of any large particulates and make sure that your engine isn't ingesting any large particulates through the air filters and the air intake. So, yes, they did do that. Report of spark plugs need changing according to mileage. Not applicable. Didn't ask about them doing spark plugs. And obviously that doesn't include the change or any of that's just report if they need changing or not. They didn't check the antifreeze, but they did top it up and topped up the coolant as well. So they topped off all of my fluids. Check the condition and security of the under tray. Yes, they did do that. All the bolts were there. Everything was good. Took it off obviously to get to the oil pan and replaced it. So that was included. What we got now? Fuel. Didn't check the cap seal. Visual check on fuel lines completed. Did not replace. Report if they did not obviously replace it or report if it was due, because I'm going to get the fuel filter done at Bentley at some point anyway. Drive system and brakes. Yes, everything was checked. We didn't actually change anything here, obviously, but they did check everything, make sure the brake fluid was all topped up and everything. And the clutch, well, obviously, clutch operation isn't applicable because it's an automatic. But obviously, it does work. Yeah, he drove it around the car park, so he didn't actually take it on a long drive. He just got it through a couple of gears in the car park and was like, "Yeah, it's driving fine, nothing, no issues." But I could have told you that, but he did obviously have to do that as part of the checks. Yeah, checked all the gators, no visible issues. Did not grease the prop shaft because again, not applicable. Did not top up gearbox fluid. Now they said they weren't able to do this there. I was a bit surprised by that. They didn't top it off. I think you can access it quite easily on the big W12 Bentleys, but they did not top off the fluid. They just reported that it looked a little bit damp around one of the seals and advised that I get it changed at Bentley. But fair enough. Yeah, I wasn't really expecting to do anything with the gearbox fluids. Brake pads were undamaged. They did check all of my brakes. They have got a minor brake bind on the passenger side of the car. So they did report on that. When I get the brake changed at Bentley, which I'll talk about in a bit, brake change at Bentley, where is it? Rear brakes, discs and pads, 725, not too bad at all. Obviously, it's a lot of money, but about what we'd expect for a vehicle of that caliber. So I do need to replace my rear brakes. Yes, we checked everything, inspected, visually checked security camera. Yep. So yeah, all of this was done, but they didn't actually change anything. Check brake fluid level on top of the car. They did check it, but they didn't fully change the fluid. You could have had that done with the major service, but I did not have that done. So I knew the brakes were replaced recently anyway, so it would have been done then. Carrying out brake for a boil test, didn't actually do that. Would have been a bit ridiculous. Can't believe they say they do that for that price. But again, basically it does say they'll top off the transmission fluid, and they won't. Transmission diff fluid is not topped off at Halfords, even though it says it would be on the website. Again, this is all just sort of checks. Nothing actually changed. They did top off the power steering fluid, although I know they checked the power steering fluid and already had plenty in it, so nothing required topping off. Yeah, it was all just sort of, we didn't lubricate the battery terminals. There's 2 batteries, but they're both brand new, so that didn't need doing. Check battery security condition seal yet. Didn't check the battery again. I knew the battery was new, didn't worry about checking those. But basically, all of this is included, apart from the transmission top off, which they won't do. for £200. And again, they don't remove the wheels and balance them all. I don't know why it says to do that for that price, because that would be ridiculous, but they don't actually take all the wheels off and balance them. Mine are fine anyway. I've had it up to a relatively high velocity and haven't had any balance issues. Again, I just need a wheel alignment and to get that brake bind at the rear passenger side sorted, which also could be causing the alignment issues. A slight brake bind could actually be causing the car to drag more to the side. So that could actually be adding to the slight pull I get towards the passenger side of the vehicle. Yeah, they checked everything works. Again, it's just checking things. Checked windscreen chips and cracks. Yeah, they checked all this stuff. All this stuff, obviously, I knew was fine anyway. But again, basically, additional hybrid checks definitely not applicable on a 6-litre Bentley. Basically, yeah, for 229, they will do all of that servicing. I paid 275 because I thought they'd be able to source the oil for the extra 45 if I do the upgrade. See, 45 for the Mobile Premium upgrade, but they couldn't provide the oil. But I managed to find some at Euro Car Parts. But anyway, I'll put a link to this service plan in the description below. So if you want to check that out and book your Bentley in for a Halford service, I'd actually recommend it. They were great, really helpful. Let me put it in jack mode. Let me get a bit involved and make sure everything was torqued right. So again, watch a couple of videos about how to do all that. But you can do it all basically with the assistance of Halfords at their jacks. You'll need to bring your own oil likely if they can't source it, but this is the stuff you need. Fully synthetic 0840 Mobile 1, and you need 13.5 litres of it. Best thing to do is buy 3 of these, which is what I did for £165. And I've got a little bit of oil spare for the GTR as it uses the same stuff. So if I need to top off the GTR or the Bentley, I've got a couple of litres spare. Right, so oil filter. Again, if you need to buy it separately to do it yourself, you can buy it. You torque it to 25 Newton meters, and Halfords provided that as part of the £230 I paid. Same for the air filters. They actually provided both of these as part of the £230. But these are obviously really easy to do yourself. Just need a Torx bit, and they literally just go into the top of the engine bay. But you need obviously a right and left filter because it's got 2 very large banks of cylinders on the car, so you have 2 very big air filters. But these are the 2 you need. Right, so that's all the stuff. So basically, buy the engine oil and book the 230 quid service, and Halfords will service the Bentley for you, basically. And it's really easy to do because you don't need the computer for the 04 and 5 cars, due to the fact that you can put it in jack mode and reset the service light without it. Now, this is why I didn't take it to Bentley. So this is the interim service. So this doesn't include air filter replacement, pollen filter replacement. Basically, it just includes oil and filter, and then they check and top up fluids. Now that costs £800. Obviously, they'd have a reader and be able to check any ECU fault codes and potentially have fixed the issues with the car before they occur. So again, I would recommend doing this if you have got the cash. But if you do need to save £400 because it's Christmas, like I did, obviously it's not worth spending £800 for basically an oil change. But if you go down this list, everything they do is just check and replenish fluids. They don't actually change anything. They replace the wiper blades and check the wash jet, which is quite a useful one because my wiper blades are a bit noisy, so I will need that done at some point. And carry out basic checks, remove cooling matter from cooling matrices. You know, foreign matter. It's sort of basically just checks and check for damage. None of it's actually changing anything. Now, if you go up to the extra £400 for the major service for £1,200 just off of, you get the air filters replaced if needed, which they would be needed because mine were pretty dirty. So you get the air filters replaced, again, not an expensive part wherever they are, and again included in the Halford service. Transmission fluid change, so that's optional extras. Yeah, so you actually pay an extra £400 for basically a few extra checks. They don't even say they replace it. Check the condition of the pollen filters. Check the condition of the spark plugs. So this is probably just done via the ECU and check what the timings are like, check if they're arcing or anything. And this, so probably won't even have to take them out. And this is again just a check. You literally open the hood to check your pollen filters. They don't actually do anything really that intensive for the extra money. Except for check a few extra items. Check the condition of the brake fluid. Again, they probably don't, but they don't replace it. They only check it. This is what put me off doing this service because all of these things are still extra items. So assume you're paying £1,200 for the major service, which Halfords basically did for £300 plus, well, £230 plus bringing my own oil. The fixed price stuff here, you'd have to actually pay extra for changing the brake fluid, changing the discs and pads. Obviously, they're actually not bad prices considering how big the discs are, to be honest. But yeah, you want the transmission fluid changed, it's an additional £900. Spark plug changed, additional £600. Brake hoses, another £600. Drive belt for the W12, which I have, another £400. Not a bad price for that, but I've got a new drive belt anyway. Coolant flush, £200. Don't think I've got whatever that is, but the evap carbon canister 400, fuel filter 75. That's probably worth doing, and I will do that when I take it there in the air conditioning service. I'll probably have both that. When I take it to Bentley, I'll probably pay for the £800 service because that one's a joke, right? And then, because basically never ever pay for the major service at Bentley. ever do it. Pay for the £800 one and then add on items. So pay for the 800 and then do brake fluid change, other stuff like that. So I'm probably going to do brake fluid change, rear discs and pads, tranny fluid change, spark plugs I will do. I'll probably replace the brake hoses. I'll probably spend a fair few £1,000 at Bentley next year when I get it done. It'll probably be, I imagine, around the £4,000, £5,000 mark. But that will mean the car is in good nick. And that's after I've fixed up all my sort of visual issues that I have as well, the cosmetic stuff on the car. But yeah, all in all, Halfords, great value if you just want your Bentley service for a quick oil change, an air filter change. Way cheaper than Bentley. And they're really nice. They're super helpful. As long as you bring your own oils, make sure you get the right stuff. Obviously, all this is linked in the description below anyway. But yeah, basically do that. And it's way cheaper than taking it to Bentley unless you're getting the major stuff done, at which point, obviously, you'd have to go to Bentley. But hopefully, that was somewhat insightful and has shown you why I decided to get my Bentley serviced at Halfords. But the reason I did it at Halfords as well is because A, you have to put the car in jack mode to jack the car up from the jack points. In the 04s, it's easily done by pressing the air suspension and the suspension adjustment buttons down together. So there's two different suspension adjustments. This car's bagged, it's got bags from the factory, so it's got height adjust as well as comfort adjust. If you hold both buttons down together, the car goes into jack mode, at which point you're allowed to jack the car up and you're not going to damage your air suspension system or the air compressor. Very important step to remember. Don't do that. You could be looking at a 15 grand bill from Bentley. So remember to do that and show the service technician how to do it. Halfords guy was very gracious and let me put it in jack mode before they lifted the car up. And the other thing I was concerned about was resetting the service light, because it said there was a service due in 2,000 miles. Being a car that was new to me, I thought I want the oil change. That was more important to me than anything, so it's mechanically sound. So what we did was wondered how we reset the service light. So they were saying, oh, we haven't got a Bentley computer, obviously, so we probably can't reset the light. Cool, but kind of concerning feature in the 04 and 5s. If you hold down the trip button when you turn the car on, it will come up saying reset service, are you sure? And you just press OK on the steering wheel select menu and you can reset the service light to say it's had its full service done, or at least an interim service done, so the ECU thinks it's been serviced. Kind of concerning. So when you get a Bentley Continental, check the oil's been changed. I would just go and change the oil in it for £400 for peace of mind, because someone could have just reset the light by turning the car on and holding the trip button down. Crazy that that's the thing you can do in a car this expensive, considering this was well over £100,000 new. A little concerning, but I've obviously only reset it because I know that we've had the oil change, because I literally did it all with the techies in Halfords. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed this overview on me getting my Bentley serviced at Halfords. Bit of a strange video. I thought I'd get some clicks because it's just a bit something you don't really do, isn't it? But actually totally a sensible thing to do when you know you can have the service reset like that. They'll help you out. You can put it in jack mode, you can reset the service light yourself, and you know that it's got fresh filters, fresh oil, both air and oil filter, and you know that at least it's got a few thousand miles of fresh oil in it. You know, that's the thing. It's just about having a bit of peace of mind that the engine's going to be okay, knowing it's got the right oil in it, fresh oil, fresh filters. It's just peace of mind that it's not going to blow up on you. Anyway, well, fingers crossed anyway, you know. Hopefully I haven't got any head gasket issues. Anyway, if you've got a Bentley and you need it quickly serviced, though, 4 and 05 Fleck Continental, perfect thing to do is take it to Halfords to save a bit of money and get the oil changed and have a bit of peace of mind. I hope you enjoyed the video and the overview, and also just thought it was a bit of a weird thing to do because I bet they've never even serviced a Bentley before, so there you go. Anyway, see you soon, and enjoy the New Year's. Good luck in the new year, everyone, and I'll see you soon with more content very, very soon. Take it easy.